The Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy was established in 2011 after Qatar won the rights to host the World Cup in 2022 to make sure that all the infrastructure required for the World Cup is delivered and to make sure that all the planning and the operation for the World Cup and preparing the host country for the World Cup. We also make sure that we work with different agencies here in Qatar that are building major infrastructure that's required for the World Cup. So for example, if you look at it, the roads, highways, the metro, the new Hamad International Airport was not built at the time. So these are all stakeholders that we worked with very closely to make sure that they were delivering on the required projects that would be necessary for the World Cup. So if we look at the World Cup alone, the Supreme Committee under it has right now planned for 8 stadiums. And 6 of those stadiums are already under construction. We also developed the training sites that are going to be required for the World Cup. And we work with our stakeholders, as mentioned earlier, such as Qatar Rail, the Public Works Authority that are developing all the roads and highways, the Port Authority. There's a new port that's being built in the south of Qatar, which is going to be an important strategic project that's going to be important for a lot of, like we said earlier, the import of primary material and a lot of the material that's going to be required to deliver not just on the World Cup, but on the infrastructure that's required in Qatar's development plans. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities. I mean, we already have a Spanish design company involved with the World Cup, RFA Fenwick. They've designed the Qatar Foundation Stadium. There's a lot of companies that are already working here in Qatar, whether it's in the construction industry, whether it's in the design industry. Very recently, at least in the two or 3 years, I've seen a big influx of Spanish companies here. And also in the hospitality industry, we see a lot of presence for Spanish brands. And so like I said, there's going to be a lot, whether it's going to be on the technology that's required in the stadiums, whether it's going to be some of the services that are going to be required during the World Cup. It could be in security, it could be in overlay. There's a lot of experience that Spain has that can be relevant to us. When we bid for the World Cup, we saw that we wanted to see the closest model to Qatar. And we saw that no World Cup was similar to Qatar's World Cup. So we turned to look at Olympics because Olympics are city events. And the closest we saw was Barcelona. We saw how in '92 the Olympics in Barcelona transformed the city. Similarly, we feel that the World Cup here is in this very transformative state here in Qatar. And we saw that the links between us and Barcelona are quite big. So if you look at that experience that Spain has undergone with the Olympics, then we see that Spain is well positioned to be able to provide us with services, goods, know-how, and we're seeing it happen already. Like I said, we've seen a big influx of Spanish companies here now.